Hello, YouTube. MSG retired here. Let's see. Hopefully, we get good audio, got good video. I decided to do a last minute decision to do a Veterans Day live stream. See if any of my veteran friends want to jump in. The link's been posted. I'll post it again. It's posted on the bottom here. And we'll post the link here if anybody wants to join in. And what I'm going to do is, once we get a few people in here, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the history of Veterans Day. Might also touch a little bit on the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And we shall see. Hey, there's my buddy from Humboldt County. Good evening, sir. Sergeant E5 ETS, good evening. Happy Veterans Day to you, brothers. I'm going to give this a little bit of time before I get into my spiel. I'm going to just talk a little bit about the history of Veterans Day, how it started, and when it actually became Veterans Day, because it wasn't always called Veterans Day. And just to get into a little bit, just to start with, the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Memorial Day is based on those that actually gave their life for our country. Whereas Veterans Day are for not only those, but for those that have served or are serving. Oh, all right, we got combat. We can't pump him in here. Hopefully he doesn't have too many issues. Can you hear me there, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
We got him. We got you in there. I gotta move my mugshot over a little bit. Center up. There we go. Well, good evening to you, sir. I was just talking a little bit about the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day, which that's a pretty simple one, but a lot of people don't know the history of Veterans Day, and I'm going to kind of touch on that. You hearing me okay? Because I can hear you, and your audio sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is my first time.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It takes a little bit of getting used to. But I use StreamYard because, number one, it's free, and number two, it seems to work pretty well. Plus, it interlinks directly with my YouTube channel.
Yeah, sounds great. So anyway, you were getting back to your story, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go over the history of Veterans Day a little bit, and then I'm going to get you to kind of give a little introduction and what your military career was. But we'll get into that in a little bit, and we'll see if we get any more people jumping in here. I'm sure we will. And it looks like we're getting some comments. Oh, I can see you.
Oh.
I can see the reflection in your glasses. You must be in a dark room. So let me get into if anybody else jumps in, hang in there. I'll get you in here in a second. But I want to talk a little bit about the history of Veterans Day. Veterans Day was initially noted as Armistice Day, and it goes all the way back to World War I. And there's a significant set of numbers that go along with this. And if I screw this up, somebody will correct me, I'm sure. But the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. That's why 11, you see 11/11 or the 3/11s associated with Veterans Day. And that's actually November 11th, on the 11th hour, 1918, the armistice was signed, which brought to an end the fighting during World War One. World War One didn't end until God, when did it end? I think it was June 28th. Oh man, I'm scratching. 1919. June 28th, 1919 was the actual end of World War One. I'm going to bring this up on the internet, so so I know I'm 100% correct on this stuff. Yeah. All right. June 28th, 1919 was the end of the war. However, the armistice, the end of hostilities was signed on November 11th. So 11/11/11, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And actually, it was President Wilson in November of 1919. That was the first commemoration of Armistice Day. So it started off as Armistice Day, and it's still celebrated as Armistice Day in other countries. This went on until the end of World War II and the Korean War. And let me see.
I actually want to say that I think the Christmas Truth is played somewhere into there too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. You are correct.
I'm just guessing. I'm guessing, that's all.
Yeah, I think it was that winter where the two different sides got together and had their Christmas thing. And I got the peanut gallery yelling in the background. What?
It was at Bellawood.
It was at Bellawood. So an act 52, statute 351, U.S. Code section 87A, approved May 13th, 1938, made the 11th of November in each year a legal holiday. So in 1938, it became an actual holiday, and it was known as Armistice Day. After World War II, the Korean War, in I believe it was 1950. I'm just reading here. 1954.
Correct.
And they took out Armistice and they made it Veterans Day. June 1st, 1954 is when that they made November 11th Veterans Day. So that's your little history on Veterans Day. All right, let me catch up here.
That sounds great, Master Sergeant. I just wanted to say I've been tuning into your show for a couple of times now. I really appreciate the content that you put out. Jeremy DeWitt was a chapter onto himself, and I'm sure he looks great in fluorescent orange.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But you know what's really bad? These phonies come out of the woodwork on Veterans Day.
Right.
They go out and get their free meals, and they get their discounts, and they play dress up and go to all the parades. And yeah. So, we talk about Jeremy DeWitt, who's currently serving his time. And he provided for some really good content. There's no doubt. He actually called me out in one of his videos, and I thought that was pretty good. I I really knew I made it when Jeremy DeWitt called me out.
You know, that one video where he's got this poor guy who's just driving down the road. He's probably going to work or he's coming back to work or something, and he is beating on this guy's hood, you know, with his I think he had his other hand on his gun. I mean, this guy's just going down the road. And you got this clown beating on his hood, telling him to pull over.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm amazed, Master Sergeant. I'm amazed by this.
Well, I'm going to be following along once he gets released because I'm sure he's going to be creating some awesome content for us. There's no telling what he's going to do at that point. But I wanted to ask you a question. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your military career?
Yeah, just short and sweet. Came in 1990. At that point in time in American history, Russia was going to go to nuclear war with us. It was going to happen. It wasn't when, but it wasn't if, but when.
I remember those days.
Yeah, and I joined the Air Force. Worked the A-10 for about 8 or 9, 10 years. Worked the AC-130 gunship for about 7 years. F-16, about 4 years. Loved every minute of it. Got to travel. Met so many interesting people. I can't even. If I wrote a book, it would be huge. I met so many different personalities, so many good people, and sometimes bad people too.
Well, unfortunately, you know, the people don't realize that the military is just a mix of all different types of people put together that have some discipline because they've gone through the so-called indoctrination. They've been through, you know, their basic training, boot camp, whatever. And yeah, you do get the turds. There's no doubt about it. Fort Leavenworth's full of a bunch of them.
Yeah, I got a chance to escort another NCO going to Cherry Point. I think is it North or South Carolina?
Cherry Point's, I think, North Carolina.
Jacksonville. No.
So this guy. So yeah, but just real quick, this guy he was an impersonating officer, and I saw the dressing down that guy got at the gate, and I was like an E4 at the time. I was like a senior airman. I was a kid, right? And I was like, I was scared straight at that point. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I never want to come here ever.
Yeah, that's that doesn't sound good. All right. Hiram, I'm not sure what a GA. Do you know what a GAU 9 is? -9?
Me?
Yeah. Sounds like a weapon system.
Say it one more time, please.
It's Golf Alpha Uniform -9.
I know what a GAU 8 is. That's the 30 millimeter of A10. A Gal. We say Gal 8, GAU 8, Gal 8.
All right, and then he's got an M61. I'm not sure what an M61 is either.
M61. Yeah, that sounds like a heavy machine gun. But yeah, that actually that's a good segue. I was weapon systems on A10s, AC-130 gunship. So all the fun aircraft everybody think about all the time. You know, the Gatling gun, the big 105 millimeter howitzer hanging out of the side of the Spectre gunship as it circles overhead, defending our troops on the ground.
I've seen some videos of those firing. It's pretty crazy.
It's
Um,
nuts.
they provided quite a bit of support during Urgent Fury down in Grenada back in '83,
Yes, sir.
October of '83. I never saw. We never had any fixed wing support other than, at least in Iraq. Um, we had all small. We actually didn't even have any Apaches. They were using the OH-58 Ds gunships. That was our main air support in Mosul in northern Iraq, and the only fixed wing that gave us any support, there was a aircraft we called Air Scan, and had this little crusty bearded dude that was flying it. I think he was with the CIA, and it was a push pull Cessna, and the camera system on that thing was unbelievable. The thermal camera system on that, I've got a copy of one of the tapes. It took the mini DV tapes, and he made me a copy of one of the tapes on one of the missions we were on. And I'm going to have to, I'll try and burn that off of my old mini DV video camera and see if I can pick out some pieces of it. I've watched it before, and I could actually pick myself out on the ground, not visually, but I knew where I was. So I can actually pick myself out on the ground. But the quality of the imaging on that thing was amazing. And basically, he just circled around, just keeping an eye on the rooftops, just to make sure none of the bad guys came out and gave us any shit.
Well, yeah, he probably just kept his eye on the shiny spot, right?
That's it. That's it. Yeah, he could sparkle stuff for us as well.
Yeah, so as long as he had your head and focus, he knew where the shiny spot was, and you know.
Yeah, keep this head. It's pretty easy to keep that one in focus.
You know what? Though we were probably at Fort Bragg at the same time because I was working at Pope Air Force Base on A-10s, and like the mid '90s.
I actually left Bragg. I was only there. I was there just shy of 6 years. I left Bragg October of '87, and went to Germany for 3 years, and never could get back to Bragg. I don't know why. Usually, once you pin on those wings, there's only one place you're going to be stateside, and that's Bragg. And I never managed to get back there.
That was, we used to call it Vietnam.
Oh yeah,
because it was like the Wild Wild West. When I was there on the Army side, there was actually a sniper that was going around during PT.
Yep, I remember that.
Actually sniping soldiers. I mean, it's just like, it was just incredible.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember which battalion it was, but they were doing battalion PT. I think he shot a major, and there were two special forces guys that were out doing a run that actually grabbed him. And geez, let me see if I can find that article so I could.
Well, I'll tell you what, while you're doing that, I was also there when the F-16 hit the C-130 in the ass on final approach and took out about 30 Rangers. They were getting on the C-141s at Green Ramp. I actually saw that happen.
Wow, that was what, the F-16 that hit him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
A lot of people punched out. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people died.
Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, it was 27 October 95. Hitting a tree line adjacent to the housing area. over by Toll Stadium, and
Which one are you talking about again? I'm sorry.
the sniper.
Yeah.
And he was using an AR-15.
Right.
He had an AR-15, a 22 long rifle, and a Browning 9mm pistol. And it says here several Special Forces soldiers, including SFC Tony Miner, SFC Bob Howe, Sergeant Edward Mongold, and SFC Paul Rogers. They were doing some physical training run. They observed the gun fire up, and they managed to take cover in the woods. And they were behind the guy that did the shooting,
Yeah.
a guy by the name of Kreutzer. And actually, it was 325 infantry guys that were out doing a brigade PT.
Yeah, those guys are under so much stress. The ops tempo there is so high. It was incredibly high when I was there. And those guys are stressed out, man, and they're just like, sometimes they break. And that's the case of it right there.
Yeah, it is. It is. Gia, thank you so much. You really didn't need to do that. I really appreciate it. She just hit me with a 99.99 super chat. Thank you so
Nice.
much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, Fort Dix, New Jersey in 01. I think that was at a gate, I believe, Hiram. I'm looking at some of the comments.
Yeah.
We had the pizza guy right after you deployed at Dick's.
And yeah, and then in my peanut gallery, she's yakking in the background something about a pizza guy that tried to do it as well. It would have been like just around the 2006 time frame. So of course, then you had Fort Drum, the major. Not Fort Drum. I'm sorry, Fort Hood. Yeah, there's lots of craziness. When I was an MP at Fort Campbell way back when, we had I was only there just shy of 3 years, and that was right before I transitioned over and was getting ready to go to flight school. And we had a warrant officer shoot his wife on post in the housing area. We had the second murder was infantry against infantry over a 6-pack of beer, and this one kid got his head caved in.
Jeez.
These guys said, "Hey, give us a beer," and he said, "Hey, no," and all of a sudden everybody came out of both sides of the barracks and they went at it. It was like a big, huge riot, and we drew all our riot gear. We had to go down there. It was nuts. And one kid was killed there, and then we had one attempted murder right before I left. A male dependent came into his wife's order, and this was right on the backside of the MP barracks. A dependent husband came in, dragged his wife out in the front yard of the company, stuck a Derringer to the back of her head and pulled the trigger and went off. And the bullet went in, bounced off of her skull, and came out of her forehead. So it went right around her skull, just under the skin, and popped out the front. And I guess after he fired, she jumped up and ran off, and then he took off. And Clarksville PD actually caught him as he was jumping over one of the fences to get out off post. So people don't realize some of the craziness that goes on big military bases. It's it's like any regular city.
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, you got some bad apples in there, and you got a lot of good apples. Fortunately for me, when I came in, I had a lot of good mentors because I came from a broken home. The single mom, the I wouldn't say poor, but not well off family. And I joined the Air Force, and I got into mechanics. I guess I say engineering now, but it's just mechanics. And they introduced me to the A10, and it just went from there. And I turned it around. I turned that story around, and I want to. This is where I'm getting at: is that uh, anybody out there that's young listening to this, you can turn this around too. Go, and you know what? Right now, the military is not in the best shape that you should be in, but it's a good stepping stone. You know, go
Yeah,
out.
that's like with me. I mean, I was just bouncing from job to job, not really getting anywhere. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give the military a try. I had always kind of thought about it, but I just never really took it serious. And then I finally did. And once I got in, I decided to stay. I liked the structure. I liked, I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I stayed.
That is a very generous super chat you got there.
Yep, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Gia. Sergeant E5, thank you. Have a great dinner, and hope you had a happy Veterans Day. Thanks for stopping in. Julio, welcome. Thank you. We appreciate it. Uh, just trying to keep up with all of the chats, and if anybody wants to bring up a subject, if they want to know something, um, let me see if I can bring up this. I got a picture. Let me see if I can get this picture. I can bring it up. It's early in my career and then late in my career, and I just got to find it and I'll bring it up, and you can see the huge difference from when I first joined to. All right, I got two pictures I'll bring up. Let me just get these on my desktop really quick and make it easier. Hopefully it'll make it easier. All right, let's see how this works. We're going to share. This thing only wants me to share a screen. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but we'll give it a try. So actually, that's probably. God, I hate technology sometimes. God, I hate technology. All right, we'll do that. I'll try and share these pictures after a bit, because it's
Master
not.
Sergeant, I just realized something.
What's that?
That we're streaming to exactly the same number of people that we are.
What's that?
We're streaming to two people, and we're two people talking.
Well, yeah, people come in and they come and go, and this was kind of a short-ended thing. It was kind of a last-minute thing.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Some people will come, some people will go, and if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I don't get too wrapped around the cork about it. I was hoping I would get a few other guys in here tonight, and I really hadn't planned on going very long anyway, but I did want to talk about the history of Veterans Day. And I've been changing up some of my stuff. I posted the video of me with my RC helicopter over in Iraq, and
I saw that. Saw that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but then my smart ass attitude got me in trouble, and it is what it is. I mean, there really wasn't much they could do to me, but they put up a stink with my commander, and rather than try and fight it, I just went ahead and boxed it up and shipped it home. But that was my stress relief.
Exactly. When you're over there, you got to find something. We used to fight the camel spiders and the what was it was camel spider the scorpions.
Yep.
Scorpions. You did that. I was lucky because I was always around really good chow facilities. Being Air Force, everything. I know.
I'll tell you a little story. And I had to take a guy, and here again, we're talking about the bad apples in the military. We caught a guy with kiddie porn on a computer while we were over there. So I had to escort him down to Tikrit to the our MP battalion headquarters for him to be processed for a court martial. And so I took him down there, and then trying to get back from Tikrit back up to Mosul. I ended up in Balad somehow. I got on a flight that was supposed to go here, there, everywhere. Anyway, I got booted off at Balad. Now, big Air Force presence there. And I went in the friggin' mess hall, and they were eating on china. I mean, real china plates with like this fancy silverware and, these gigantic salad bars with all this. And I'm like, where the hell am I? I couldn't believe it. The food was amazing. Now, don't get me wrong. We had great food where I was. I was on and if you watch the helicopter video, you could see I was on a really good sized base. And we had a really great chow hall. And I mean, you get steaks on Thursdays, lobster tails on Fridays. Of course, it was all shipped in. But nothing like they had there. I was just, and I looked like trash. I mean, I was filthy. I was nasty. And, I'm walking around with my M4 slung, and everybody's kind of giving me the hairy eyeball. I hadn't shaved in like 3 days, and all I wanted to do was get back up to my base. And I ended up bouncing around 3 or 4 different places, and then finally there was an Air Force loadmaster that managed to get me on a cargo flight that was going up to Mosul. He says, "Sides, I got you. Come on with me." And he hooked me up and got me a ride up there. But it was nuts trying to get around.
Excellent. How much time did you so you were in Iraq? Were you in Afghanistan as well?
I was I never went to Afghanistan. I was in Iraq. And my last tour was 06, 07. And that was right before the drawdown, but it was during the I was up in the northern part in Mosul, and it was during the push in Baghdad. So they pushed all the ship bags out of Baghdad, and they pushed them north. So then we had to deal with them. And it was a pretty crazy experience being there, because we were getting, of course, we were supposed to be out training the Iraqi police, which is like herding cats. And so we were out the wire every day. And I had platoons going in, or not platoons, but my squads were going in 3 different directions every day. So I would be with, first squad this day, second squad, third squad, fourth squad, because I have 4 squads. And, it was almost nonstop for me, jumping from squad to squad, going out on missions, just so I could keep up with what they were doing out in the field. And Jesus Christ, the IEDs, we had more Humvees that were all blown to shit than you could shake a stick at. but
Oh,
they kept patching them up, and we kept using them.
yeah. When that all kicked off, 9/11, I was at Herbert Field Air Force Special Operations Command down in Florida on the beach. Barbecuing ribs, you know, and that's an Air Force joke. No, but yeah, I was down at Herbert Field Air Force Special Operations Command, and of course, a couple assholes decided to drive a couple airplanes into a couple of our buildings, and you just grab the horns, and you're gonna get what's coming. So about a month later, our commander gives us the green light and says, "Where it go?" I was working at that on that deployment. It was AC-130H models, which were the old Vietnam era gunships, which only had a 40 millimeter and a 105 on them. Still good aircraft. They didn't pressurize, so they couldn't go up that high. All these military aircraft I'm talking about have been cut up. They're gone. There's no secrets left, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so we went over there. Another base that has recently been declassified was we were flying out of a old abandoned Soviet air base in Uzbekistan, which was just north of Afghanistan. Whenever you get a chance after this, go to K2. It's called K2 Uzbekistan, and a lot of people pass through there. Like I said, it's been declassified. We were flying missions out of there and whatnot, but it was a toxic waste dump. A lot of people are getting cancer out of there. They're getting a lot of bad stuff out of there. Just go to the website. The numbers are all there. You can check it out for yourself.
That's cool. I'm gonna try and do something here, and I think I've got it. I just need to find it. I have that. No, that's not going to work either. I'm going to have to put together some videos because I've got some pretty cool videos of stuff we did over there. I've got some video from a Crow system, which is a remote turret for a 50 cal on a Humvee. The gunner sits inside the cab with a little camera. It's got a thermal camera on it, a regular camera on it, and the 50 cal sits up there, and he can aim it and shoot it from inside the truck. So that was a pretty cool piece of equipment we had. And then again, the air scan video. And Gary, thanks. I appreciate it. Max Powers, thank you. Thanks for your support. We really appreciate it. Just the amount of support that we're still getting today. It's very humbling for somebody to thank me for my service. I don't know how you feel about it, but it took me a while to really kind of get comfortable with it. And I always thank them for their support. I mean, their support is amazing. The support that the U.S. citizens have given each and every one of us for our service is amazing, unlike it was back in the Vietnam era. And I still talk about coming through the Atlanta airport on my mid tour when I came home on leave. And as we walked through the area, I mean, people were standing up and clapping and stuff, and it's a very humbling experience. I was out for the parade today. We just got a new World War I memorial. They had to redo it, and they managed to get it all done and back up. But very small parade. We've got 3 military dedication areas, memorials, and of course our JROTC. We got Navy JROTC. We're 100 miles from or 60 miles from the ocean, but we've got Navy JROTC, and they march. And VFW came out and did the honor guard and the rifle salutes. So it didn't last very long. It was pretty short, but a very humbling experience. And there were a lot of people that actually came out to see it and participate.
You know what? I'll never forget this. When I was in Afghanistan, the students of all the schools would get together and make cards for us out of crayons and paper. And they had a wall where I was working at covered. It was like, it was like 12 feet tall, by 25 feet long, and it was just covered with all these kids making all these crayon cards telling us how badass they thought we were, and it was great. Everybody's, you would go through there and you would see it, and it was great. But the support at that time was just, it was, if I would come home off of my shift when I was stateside, and I would stop to get gas in my truck, and somebody would try to buy my tank of gas for me. It was just, it didn't, you couldn't ask for anything. You couldn't.
No, it's the amount of support that the veterans and those serving get it has been just amazing. And like I said, it's very humbling. It really is. Well, all right. I wanted to, this was kind of a short notice thing, but I did want to get out here. I did want to talk about the history of Veterans Day, talk a little bit about that, Armistice Day. Pretty much covered it. Hey, I want to thank you so much for jumping in. I'm really surprised I didn't get more people jump in. I posted the link a few times, and it's in the description. But they may be enjoying a nice evening. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of stolen valor reports, and this is the time of year. It happened last year too, that I'll get a couple of dozen emails. Hey, I saw this guy, and this is his name, and this is what he's saying, but he's saying all of his records. This is the part that just chaps my ass every time. They'll say, yeah, this guy was telling me about all this stuff he did and da-da-da. And I said, really? I said, man, I'd love to see your DD-214. He's like, well, that's all classified. But all the shit you just talk about isn't classified? Oh, come on. These guys just take it to that next level. Royal Marine, that's, I've watched some videos on the Royal Marines. They're some tough dudes. Definitely some tough dudes. Max Powers he said his brother was a Marine, a Royal Marine. So he's over, I'm assuming, in Great Britain. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Didn't really even expect it to go this long. Thank you all so much. I hope everybody had an enjoyable Veterans Day. To all my veterans out there, all my brothers and sisters, thank you so much for your service. I appreciate it. And Combat Mechanic there, if you got anything you want to throw in.
Thank you for having me, Master Sergeant.
Not a problem. More than happy to have you jump in here and we reminisce a little bit and talk a little shit to each other. And it's always a good time. But with that, I'm going to say, have yourself a great evening. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, I'm doing open mic night on Monday night. If you want to jump in here, jump in on Monday. I've already got it posted. I'm going to try and boost it up a little bit more and see what happens. Hey, everybody have a great night. Thanks so much.